Hello and welcome back to day 22 of building 30 apps in 30 days. Every single day, one app, one video shipped to production. Gone for the 5 apps and we're about to find out if it's actually cooked. This isn't half bad already. Surely this is another AI YouTuber overhyping these AI models. Folks, we're getting to a point now where these models are actually delivering. If we can one-shot 5 apps, you can definitely one-shot 1 app and have some fun with it. Expect to run into a good few deployment issues, so we've got a build error. It's very simple. If I don't ship before midnight, I face a forfeit. In today's video, we're going to step things up a notch. Instead of 1 app today, we're going to go for 5 apps. Yes, that's right, 5 micro apps. Let's get into the video. Okay, so you might think I've gone a bit delusional, but bear with me here. Let me explain my thinking. So we're talking micro apps here, and in a way, everything I build over this 30 days are micro apps. But then if you look at some of the bigger projects like our video clipping project, Opus Clone, and if you haven't seen that, check that out. You'd consider that a full app, but it does a pretty beefy function. But micro apps, they're a bit smaller, they're a bit more agile, a bit more nimble, quicker to build, quicker to ship, and you can have some fun with them. And here's the thing, they can be really good for marketing as well, especially when you start looking at SEO and the notion of apps as marketing. Before we had blog posts as marketing, a bit stale now. Then we had social media content, video content. Now we are entering the era of micro apps as marketing. So we're going to show you an example of some things we can do today, and hopefully we can get 5 out. That's what we're going to aim for. So let me give you an example of what I mean here. So let's say we've got this main app, which is an AI social content writer, which I was working on a couple of months ago, which is like a ghostwriter for your social content. And let's say we wanted to do a bit of marketing around that and build some small apps. So what we could then do is go to ChatGPT and say, hello, I'm doing some marketing for my social media ghostwriting AI tool. I want to build 5 or 10 micro apps. So small tools that maybe have some search volume. That would do good if we ship them as individual tools and get some attention. Can you give me some ideas? Maybe give me 10 to 20 ideas. And then I could say, for example, hashtag generator, fake tweet generator. So these are small things that over time can stack up. Okay, so for today's example, so we've got some ideas from ChatGPT. So again, we've got our main product here and we want to build some micro tools below that for marketing or whatever. We can do, these are some ideas. We've got hook generator. So you've got a post, but you want to get some ideas for hooks. Write like X. Maybe you want to write some threads like your favorite Twitter writer. Bio generator, fake tweet generator, which would be like displaying a tweet so you can get an image of something. And then emoji translator, which will take your post and translate it into emojis. I know that's a bit of a weird one, but bear with me here. There is actually search demand for this keyword. I've seen it before, and here's a few examples of sites that are doing it. And here's another little trick. If we go to Hootsuite here and we can see they've got this small tool, which makes you wonder what other tools they've got. So we can go to their social media tools here. And here you have a bunch of small ideas. And these are all things you can be doing. The username generator, similar to the bio generator. These are all tools that you can build in Claude Code, in Convex Chef. You can build them super quick and they all act as small inroads into your main product because a lot of them will rank, especially if you make them a nice user experience. You design them well, you make them quick, you make them do the job with no ads, no spam, no pop-ups. It's actually quite rare to get that. And hopefully in future, we'll see some of these more specialized tools that aren't absolutely swamped in banner ads and stuff. Yeah, this will be quite a good one. And hopefully I can show you the process of how we do this. Okay, team, welcome to the night shift. We had some bits and bobs come up today, so we got a few hours. We're going to do it, but there's no stress. Could be famous last words, but let's jump into the build. We're going to start this off with our good friend of the show, Convex Chef, and let's jump in with our prompt. So we're going to hopefully set up the foundations for these 5 apps, and yes, we're still going for 5. Can we do 5? About to find out. Okay, so let's see if we can. This is going to be pretty mad because we're telling it the 5 tools. So we said set up a foundational app with a clean modular architecture to support multiple social media micro tools. Include a simple, intuitive dashboard listing all tools with clear navigation. Design a consistent, minimal UI using neutral color palette with accent colors for actions and highlights. Use readable sans serif fonts and white space. I like that, Convex Chef. I like that. Implement these tools. Emoji translator. Input text area and sends text to generate emoji enhanced output, fake tweet generator, Twitter hook generator, tweet like X, bio generator. Cool. There was some stuff on Convex Chef I read about OpenAI and like the tokens, because I think when you set up initially, it sets it up with their like limited OpenAI just to get a good demo for first time users. But there is actually something maybe we can try to get this working a bit better. And we're running low on these like chef tokens, but we can always get that pulled locally, set up locally really easily, and then deploy through the cell. And that's what we've been doing for a lot of builds. I've really been enjoying using convex, and I think a lot more people are going to be using convex going forward. Still a little bit early, but the tech is there. I think they just need to get the word out, and I guess that's what I'm doing here. So here we go. Look, we've already got some cool names coming through. All the boys. So I'll tell you what, if convex can one-shot all these 5 tools, then even me as a vibe coder, I'm out of a job. We may as well pack it in, guys. Do I think it's going to one-shot it? I think it could do. Yo, okay, so it is just still cooking up, but you can see our functions within convex. So we've got generate emoji, generate bio styles, get personas, generate Twitter hooks. So it's gone for it. It's gone for the 5 apps, and we're about to find out if it's actually cooked. So let's go to preview. Obviously, we've got convex auth out of the box here, which is nice. So we're going to sign in and on, and here we have our 5 tools. Maybe we got the foundations for them, but maybe we've got them. Let's start off with an easy one. And actually, I don't know if the OpenAI is going to be working. Like I said, we need to do something within here. But I tell you what, this isn't half bad already. So let's do Elon Bosch. There we go. That is hooked up. Elon Bosch. Let's grab a placeholder 3 hours ago. Okay, so there we have it. We fetched an image there, and we've got a nice tweet here from Elon Bosch. So there we go. Download feature coming soon. But I tell you what, that's an easy add-on. And I know that Fake Tweet Generator does quite a bit of search volume. So that's just one micro tool there, one inroad that Convex Chef has ticked off. Good work. Let's go and test out the other ones. So let's go for generate hook generator. Let me test this quick because our OpenAI might not be working. So let's just say tweeting about 30 apps in 30 days, generate 5 hooks. So yeah, that's not going to work. So what we can do is go to database logs, and we can see that we're going to have this OpenAI error. So it's saying go for a sign up and update your app to use that. So we're going to go and get our own OpenAI key, and to do that, we're going to Google OpenAI key, and then we're going to sign in, and then we're going to generate a key, and then we're going to drop that into Convex. So 2 seconds. Okay, so we've got our key. Let's come over to settings here in Convex. And by the way, I love that we can do this all within Convex Chef, because this is actually the Convex kind of dashboard here. So we've come to environment variables, and then let's replace both these two. I think OpenAI base URL. We don't want to use this proxy. In fact, what I'm going to do is delete these both. And then I'm going to say add this. Okay, so I've said, can you open it here? And it's basically made this new variable. So now I'm going to paste that in, and I'll shut off this OpenAI key because I know it's not very smart showing my keys, but I want to show the process. So we'll do that here instead of just skipping past it. So now we'll save this, and then we'll come back to our preview. And then, my friends, we are going to have some hooks generated. And you know what? I'm so confident this will work. And there we have it. Convex Chef 2 for 5. We've got some hooks, and again, it's super easy to then vibe code like different sort of hooks. You could say, oh, let's generate one hook that is like a question, one hook that is a crazy statement. And this is the fun part of vibe coding, and this is why Convex Chef is a really good tool to get out of the gate, because it just lays the foundations. It gets all the database set up. If you're doing this on Superbase, then you're messing around with different columns and RLS stuff, and you just don't want to be messing around with that. Okay, we're 2 for 5. Emoji translator. Hey, I'm building 30 apps in 30 days. Follow along as we go. And you know what? Easy one for Convex. There we go. We've added the emojis. And like I said, we can improve that as we want. We can make it nicer. 3 for 5. Convex is on a ripper today. Tweet like X. Let's save that for last. Bio generator. Again, these are simple AI apps, but they have search volume. People want to use them. And if you go to Google and you search for this stuff, you're going to find a bunch of things that don't really do the job that well. I'm Alex. I'm building 30 apps in 30 days. I'm making videos. Hope anyone watching this subscribes and checks out the rest of this series. Well, no, apparently. Okay, choose styles. Okay, we've got our first little blunder here. And you know what? I'm going to let Convex Chef off the hook. It deserves a bit of error tolerance, so that's fine. And you can see here how the chat on the left is easily able to communicate with the database, which just makes this all a breeze. Okay. Tell you what, folks, I don't think they actually did make a mishap. I think it's that we didn't click this initialize data, which is like a function to get the app working, to get the data in. Now we've done that. Let's go back here. Let's punch in our bio here, and we're going to say humorous. We're feeling quite humorous this evening. Alex, coding machine, fueling 30 apps in 30 days, making vids and chaos. Hit subscribe. Join the wild tech ride. You heard the convex chef. Hit the subscribe button because we are on a bit of a rip tonight. 4 for 5. Tweet like X. We've gone for Elon Bosch already, so we'll use him again. I'm running. So I'm going to say, hey guys, I've got something big cooking up for when this challenge ends. Pumped to talk about it soon. As Elon Musk, big key dropping soon after his challenge. Stay tuned. I don't think that does sound quite like Elon. Let's try Naval. Let's see if it's got his style. When the challenge concludes, new horizons unfold. True wealth lies in grown up. Okay, it's a little bit better, and I think maybe it's just using a cheap OpenAI model and throwing these in. Again, we can really refine that. We could throw in some more examples and stuff. But yeah, quick round of applause to Convex Chef there. Yeah, one shot in 5 tools like that is bananas, so fair play. Well, there's not too much to do now, is there? What Convex Chef doesn't really have is a good way to deploy it properly on a domain. So let me show you how we go about doing that. Let me show you how we go about getting it set up locally, and then we'll deploy it onto production. So we got the full cycle. We always need to be shipping onto production. But yeah, we've downloaded the code here, and then what we do is we unzip this, and we'll bring it into another folder. And then we'll open up our terminal. I'm using Ghostly here. And then we'll cd space into this folder that we just made. Actually, cd into this one that we've just done. So we'll come in to this new folder here. And then we're going to cd into this. And then we're going to run Claude. Dangerously skip permissions. I said resume there. That's not going to work. So remove that. So you can just type in. So you don't have to do this second part. You can just type in Claude if you've got Claude Code installed. You can also do this in Cursor. But Claude, I feel like when interacting with the CLI, with the terminal is a bit better. So we're going to say, hey, can you set up this Convex project? You know what's funny about this video is that I can actually do a bit of clickbait, but I can actually deliver on that. I can say we one-shot 5 apps, and it's actually true. So if you've come here wondering, surely this is another AI YouTuber overhyping these AI models. Folks, we're getting to a point now where these models are actually delivering. But anyway, we're setting this up locally so you can see Claude Code is running that. And it will connect to the Convex database, which is in the cloud. We don't need to get that all set up locally. And Convex does a pretty decent job of that kind of technical setup when doing it locally. There are a few little things you need to do, which I'll go over now. But once you've done it once or twice, it's pretty straightforward. So what it will do soon, it will run it here, yep, and open up this. So we've got localhost here. So this is now local, and we can create a hook, testing this out. And it should still work with the API key that we just put in. So there we have it. And let me walk through what the process here is like to get to deployment. And yes, I could add some Shadcn, I could add some styling, I could make each app a bit better. But for today's build, I think I'm going to leave it just as that one shot. I think that's actually pretty sick. And hopefully that's pretty inspiring to you guys to actually, if you're watching and you're thinking, I talk sometimes about these long project setups, I talk about the long deployments. Tools like this is such a good way to get started, and I recommend giving it a go. Just start off something like this. If we can one-shot 5 apps, you can definitely one-shot 1 app and have some fun with it. Okay, let me show you how to get it ready for deployment. So we're going to come to Convex dashboard here, sign in, and then we can see here my project chef, created 10 minutes ago. So we can change that name if we come to settings, because I'll tell you what, I've got a lot of projects called Convex Chef. We'll call that 5 tools. That's fine. And then what we're going to do here is come to production, and now we've got the development cloud, which we're doing now, and then we've got the production. So the production is what goes out. It's where the real apps are. It's not where the local host heroes are, but here on this channel, we don't do local host demos. We ship to production. So we've got Kind-Hearted Bullfrog. I absolutely love that domain. That's great. It's not the domain name, it's just the name of the project. So what do we need to do next, you may be asking? So we're going to come over to GitHub, and we're going to click New Repo. And we're going to make a repo, and we're going to call it 5 tools. We'll make it private. And then we'll click this. And then we've got a quick setup. So we can take this URL and we can come back to our good friend Claude here. We can say, hey, can you push this? We could say, can you push this to this repo, please? All the best. And we'll paste in that link. And that is just going to go away and crack on and push all the code we've got to get. And then we'll get on to the next step once that's done. Okay, so here you can see it. We've made the initial commit. And if you're doing this for the first time, you do need to set up GitHub and connect it all up. But that's pretty straightforward. If you watch a video or just ask Claude on how to do it. And then when you're in terminal, you can just connect with all your repos and you can pull and clone open source repos and you can do it all with your own stuff. So here we have it. We refreshed our GitHub page and we've got all our lovely stuff here. And we've even got a nice little README. Cool. So how do we get this out on GitHub to the public internet? So now we're coming over to Vercel. I know we got a few tools coming here, but don't worry. It's pretty straightforward. We're going to go on new project. We've got this import Git repository because we've connected Vercel to GitHub. And here we see our 5 tools GitHub repo. And these are my other repos. So we're going to click import here. And now you got to pay attention. There's a couple of things we need to do here. So I always like to I always Google convex deploy Vercel and it's got these docs, hosting and deployment. So it says using convex with Vercel, deploying to Vercel. So create a Vercel account, we've done that. Link project on Vercel, create a Vercel project, link it to source code, which we've just linked. So we've just linked GitHub to Vercel and then override the build command. So this is the important bit. And this is the bit if you just try and get Claude code, just deploy this Vercel project with convex, you're going to miss this bit. So we come down here to build and output settings and this build command, we need to click this toggle and paste npm convex deploy, npm run build. And then what we need to do is set up the convex deploy key environment variable. So let's copy this name. And then we're going to come to environment variables down here. We're going to paste in convex deploy key. And here's what we do. We come back to our production thing within convex. Remember, we had the development cloud and production. We then come to settings. We come to URL and deploy key. And then we got deploy keys down here and we're going to generate a production deploy key. It asks for a name. I'm not sure why, but we copy this key here. We take it back to Vercel. We put this in the value of the environment variables. Hopefully you can see that. I'm just going to check my OBS. Yep. And then we are going to click deploy and your work here is done. Well, we're about to find out if it is well and truly deployed. I forgot one step. So let me show you that in a second. And I'll show you what's going to happen and then what we need to fix. Okay, so it looks like we've got a bit of a deploy error here, which is good because then I can show you what we do when we have these kind of issues. And there's no need to panic. There's no need to worry because we have our good friend Claude Code to the rescue. So let's actually go to project here. And if we come up to deployments in Vercel, then we're going to see this error. So we've got a build error. So we can copy that and then we can come back to Claude Code, paste that in, say, can you fix this build error and make sure it builds all good? We'll run that. And what that's going to do is build it before it actually pushes it. So that's always a good thing to do. And you can run npm run build, but it looks like it might be the OpenAI key. So that's actually what I was just about to do. But I didn't think that would fail the build, but there we have it. So why do we have this API key issue? So if you remember earlier, we put our OpenAI key in the environment variables. So what we're going to do here is we're going to copy all the environment variables and then come back up to production, environment variables, add, and then we're going to paste and it's going to paste them all in. I think the JW key stuff may or may not work here. We've had a few issues with that before with convex auth, but that's not tough to fix. So let's just try and redeploy and this may just work now. And basically what would have happened if we didn't do that, but it did deploy, we would have tried to do our Twitter hook generator and it wouldn't have done the API call because we haven't got our key in the project. But yeah, when you're getting into vibe coding and you're deploying, you're going to expect to run into a good few deployment issues, especially if you've been building locally for a long time and haven't done any push. But yeah, there you go. So the deployment is all there. Let's give it a spin at 5tools.vercel app. Out on production, as always, and the auth stuff is working. So we'll come to tweet like X, say, let's go 5 apps in 1 prompt, all the best. Okay. Again, we're showing all the ups and downs on this. So what we need to do here, we haven't got the data in. So we're going to click this initialize data, which again, I think which is kind of like a one-time thing. And then we're going to have our personas here. So let's go 5 apps in 1 prompt, all the best in the voice of Mr. Shinepoot from My First Million. There you go. Lovely, lovely tweet there that we may or may not tweet out. But yes, that concludes our video for today. That was a fun one. I was expecting a bit of a longer session, to be honest. Yeah, there's no entertaining pain or misery or midnight scrambles this evening. like I said earlier, I'm cooking up some fun stuff for when this challenge ends. So you do want to stay tuned. And if you've made it this far, I do appreciate you checking out the videos. I went a bit more into the workflows and details today. So hopefully you found that useful. I think it can be tempting to skip some of those details, both when you're making these videos and when you're following guides. But it's things like this that it might take you 2 minutes to read. But if you don't read it, it could cause you like an hour or two of pain before you're like, oh, that's why I needed to override the build command. But yeah, tomorrow's video should be a fun one. We're going up to Cursor Hackathon. We're competing in the big leagues. So we're going to do a bit of a vlog situation. So that should be good fun. Until then, all the best.